Blue Jackets and the Toronto Maple Leafs, a play-in series, best of 5. Winner moves on, loser goes home. Coming out of a 4.5-month break, that's what it is like for all of these teams that are involved in the Stanley Cup playoff tournament. Let's talk about the goaltending matchup in this series. It's being brought to you by Ohio Health, trusted care focused on safety. And for the goaltenders, the Blue Jackets come into this year without Sergei Bobrovsky in net in the playoffs. Jonas Korpisalo and Elvis Merzlikins did a tremendous job throughout the course of the regular season. Everybody knows the story. Korpisalo got the start, earned a bid to the NHL All-Star game, got injured the day before his appointment was announced. Merzlikins had to come in, was 0 for 7 at the time, and didn't look like he could win an NHL game at that point. And lo and behold, he went on a terrific run and kept the team right in it, helped them to better their position. And when Korpisalo came back, Merzlikins got hurt and went out of the lineup. So neither of these guys has really, for the most part, been healthy at the same time and been available, but they are now. So with this, let's talk about what we saw in the training camp, because I know there were many stories written about the number of goals that Jonas Korpisalo gave up as opposed to Elvis Merzlikins, to which I say, who cares? But in that last scrimmage, Elvis gave up 10, Korpi gave up 5. Take that for what you want. Again, I don't think it really matters. I think what's going to matter is going into this game on Thursday against the Boston Bruins, who's going to perform in that, because that's going to be kind of the final dress rehearsal for John Tortorella. What I think personally is Korpisalo had a chance to start the season. He was the veteran guy. He had the trust. I don't see him not getting the chance to start this thing, but I'm not saying he's going to stay there. Look what happened to him a couple of years ago in the Calder Cup playoffs. He got the nod in game 1. He didn't get the job done. Anton Forsberg came in, never gave him the net back the rest of the way. So that's the kind of situation I think it's going to be. I know a lot of people are, hands down, Elvis is going to go. I don't think that, but then again, I don't know. Jean-Luc Grandpierre, you moonlight as a goaltender in adult leagues, so I'm going to let you talk about this first. How do you see these two guys and how they might be used?
Again, this is the unknown. I think it's going to come down to that game against Boston next Thursday, and this is something that I think the coaching staff, obviously, goalie coach is going to take a look at it and see who looks sharper. I don't think it comes down necessarily how many goals they give or gave during camp. It's really going to be, what are they seeing? How's your rebound control? How are you looking around traffic? Are you looking comfortable? Because based on number alone, technically the Blue Jackets would put Elvis Merzlikins in that. But then you have to remember, what about the experience? There's so many tangibles that it's going to be a really, really hard decision. The good news, again, for the Blue Jackets is if they decide to start with Korpi or with Elvis and they don't like what they see, they'll make the switch early on. They have that luxury. Toronto, they do not have that luxury. If there's an injury or, Anderson's not performing well, they're stuck keeping him in that.
And, Jeff, that's a good point where the Blue Jackets, we've seen this in the past couple of years. Barry Trotz did it so well with the Islanders, utilizing 2 goaltenders, almost splitting the season. It could become the norm, but it's only the norm if you have 2 guys that can do the job. And the Blue Jackets have proven that they have 2 guys that can do the job and have done the job this year. And let's take that even a step further. They both want to play, so they're going to compete.
They have been competing, obviously, from the first day of camp. Now, if you go by the home net or the starting net throughout the scrimmages, throughout practices, it was Korpisalo there. And I really believe that going into camp 2.0, the idea was Korpisalo was going to be the starting goaltender, and on a short leash, Elvis comes in. But as the camp went on, we saw Elvis perhaps outperforming Korpisalo a bit. Now, you're right. And certainly Jean-Luc is right. It could come down to that Boston exhibition game before the final decision is made. But I ask this question. What about experience and the fact that Elvis, yes, this is his first playoff. This is for Korpisalo 1A as far as playoffs are concerned. But the fact that Elvis has played in world championships year after year after year, does he have a little more experience when the pressure's on the line? And does he get that little extra to get the starting nod in game number 1? Just a thought. Doesn't necessarily mean that's the way it's going to happen. And on the flip side, Toronto, the feeling is that Frederik Andersen's got to play much better than he did during the course of the regular season. And he, too, not unlike the Blue Jacket goaltenders, guilty of giving up a lot of goals. There may have been a theory and a method to the madness of Sheldon Keefe, because he had Andersen on one side. He loaded up all the offense on the other team in the scrimmages. And maybe the thought is, hey, you're facing the very best in what we have offensively. Now you're going to play the Blue Jackets. They don't have the prolific scores that we have, so maybe your game gets better. But don't underestimate Jack Campbell, a guy they acquired from the Los Angeles Kings. If Andersen continues to struggle, I wouldn't be surprised that Andersen is on a short leash and Campbell gets a chance to play.
And Jody, remember at the beginning of the season, Frederik Andersen was outstanding. I mean, there were people talking about Vezina Trophy and all that, and then all of a sudden he kind of fell off the cliff with that. And they played him a lot. We were talking about splitting duties and stuff. He's their guy. I mean, they went to him time and time again. And as Jeff just said, I think Campbell gives them a little bit of leeway there, but it's in the playoffs. So you're going to expect your starter to go every day and be good.
Yeah, the load management conversation which was created is gone. And, I think Grant Fuhr played 67 or more games one year. I mean, these guys, you know what I mean? There's a lot of talk there. I know there's a lot of talk about that but that's gone now. I don't agree with Jeff. I don't think Elvis outplayed Korpisalo. I do agree that World Championship conversation, that could be something if you really want to dig into it. But those two goalies, listen, they played equal. They let in bad goals. There was more chances for one scrimmage or two scrimmages that I saw against Korpisalo. There was a time adjustment. Jean-Luc talked about that. Players in front of you, deflection shots, power play opportunities. It's hard to determine. But I would agree that you still got to – you can't commit to it yet. When Torch says, I'm not telling you who my goalie is, they don't know who it is yet. But if everything is equal, they go with Korpisalo, and he's on a short leash. And I think that's how it is. Unless someone emerges here in the next little bit, you're going to see both goalies, I think, against Boston. And they're going to go with the player that they think is ready to play. Now, listen, both goalies played with different teams this year, completely different teams when it came to some of the players that were in the lineup. They both did a great job, but it's not what have you done for me in the past. It's what have you done for me lately. That's how they have to approach every lineup spot going into this round robin, this tournament.
So before we finish this up, let's talk about this whole setup. 12 teams in 2 hubs. Round robin teams, the top 4 teams are going to play a round robin tournament to determine their seeding. And, I know there's been some teams think they should just be in those spots and that's that and all that stuff. But this is a unique situation. It's a unique experience for everybody. It's a very unique experience for us. And let's start with that, Jeff, because, here we are in Columbus. We're going to call games off TV screens. You call a game on a TV screen every day, but you don't call it off the TV screen. You get to watch it. There are big adjustments for everybody, and we're certainly right in the middle of that.
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a challenge. It's going to be something different. I have previously done arena football off a monitor, but I think that's a little bit easier than following the puck. And what are we going to see? And understand something else here, which is good and bad. Certainly, it's going to be advantageous, I believe, to my broadcast partner, Jody Shelley, and that is 32 cameras, 12 more than they've ever used on a hockey telecast previously. And does the director get a little excited, and does he switch off cameras and perhaps get away from the play? We saw that when, if you remember, years ago, ESPN first started telecasting hockey, and they certainly went a different way. They tried to bring a new element to the game. This is going to be interesting, but obviously something I'm excited about. And hey, we're calling the Stanley Cup playoffs, and there's nothing better, in my opinion, in any sport than what we're looking at here starting on Sunday.
I'll tell you, the different angles that they're going to be on the radio broadcasts are going to be outstanding as well. It's going to be just – you might not know what's happening, and I include me in that. Jean-Luc, in the East, you look at the 12 teams. Obviously, some are going to be eliminated in this play-in series, but who's your favorite in the Eastern Conference?
Favorite in the Eastern Conference, I don't think you can overlook the Boston Bruins. You look at that team defensively, they're great all year. Offensively, they still can score. They have the veteran presence, good goaltending. I think in the East right now, if I were to pick a favorite, everybody's talking about Tampa Bay again. I cannot overlook the team of veteran that is the Boston Bruins, personally.
Jody, over in the West, can you overlook the defending champions, the St. Louis Blues? And I know you like Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers, too, just on a regular basis. Can they make any kind of run? Who do you like in the West?
I like the Blues. I mean, they just got Tarasenko back. He's on the top line again with Shen. They've got, usually when you win a Stanley Cup or you say you get disappointed like the Bruins did, which I like John Luke's pick in the East, you have to wait all summer, all training camp, all regular season. Then you have to get back into it. These guys are healthy. These guys have something to prove. They've waited for this. They're in the bubble. And I think those teams will be the most prepared. The Bruins in the East, and I think the Blues in the West, they're fired up to get back at this and try to bring that cup back. And then the other team for me in the East is Washington. They're 1 year out. They want to have that party again. Everybody wants to have that party. But I think those guys can taste it, and they want it back.
The only thing you left out in your formula this year is you've got to go training camp, regular season, wait out the pandemic, and then get to the playoffs.
Well, if you think about it, halfway through, these guys were like, well, this is our off season, so let's enjoy it. So I think they did enjoy the mental break a little bit.
I hope this is the last time we're ever including the pandemic into your formula. I think
right.
we can all agree with that. So, guys, thank you so much. Great to break down this playoff play-in series for the Blue Jackets and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And I'll see you guys at the rink.